Valide. We can now bring in Jérémy André, a journalist at political magazine Le Point. Thank you very much for joining us here on France 24 today. Now,
Hello.
This ceremony, which was held earlier, was very divisive here in France, politically speaking. Why is that?
The topic has been divisive since day one. We wrote a book with my newsroom to document that day. And we interviewed French officials at Élysée Palace, but also in the diplomatic outpost in Israel. And we saw immediately that on the front line, the diplomats were shocked. But in Paris, the state officials were very cautious because they knew it was going to blow up. And so this tribute came late. Very late, 4 months, 1 month later compared to the Nice attack tribute. Why? Because they wanted to give some space to negotiations. And once you do this tribute, you are stating facts. As Jérémy André has said, you have to name things, you have to recall the memory of these people, and then it means that you have to accuse the perpetrators to have killed innocents. So they have waited as much as they could.
I mean, because France is one of the first countries to actually hold a ceremony like this. Israel, 1 month after the October 7th attacks, I recall, held a minute of silence, but that's it. We haven't seen similar commemorations, tributes rather, in the United States or even in the United Kingdom. So France had to do this, but you're saying that it had to be done.
It had to be done because of the previous terrorist attacks targeting France, so since 2015, Bataclan, Charlie, all had their tribute, and to miss a tribute for these French citizens would have been saying they were not fully French. In the case of Israel, I think it's different. They had their own tribute. I was there during the first weeks. They were burying their loved ones every day. And they will make a ceremony at the end of the war. So they are their own tribute. The problem is in Israel is more with the families of the hostages. The government don't want to be tied to the hostage situation in the course of the war. So they have kept distance with these families.
Because they don't want to be pressured to give Hamas any concessions. I want to talk about France itself, because France, obviously, with a ceremony like this, is sort of saying who they're behind in this conflict, the state of Israel, clearly. But officials in France have come under pressure over things like allowing pro-Palestinian demonstrations to take place. So what is it saying now? Because we have seen the people going out on the streets in this country for months calling for a ceasefire. France, in fact, was one of the first European countries to call for a ceasefire. It took Emmanuel Macron over a month to call for one, but he eventually did. But then last week, France suspends funding to the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, even before an investigation is completed. So on one hand, you have France trying to tell Arab states, look, we want a two-state solution. We want to see a Palestinian state somewhere down the line. But where do things stand from Paris's perspective?
This is the big criticism against Emmanuel Macron. The diplomatic line of France following October 7 has been very confusing. So basically, this is the en même temps, in the same time policy of Macron to try to please both our Israeli allies and our Arab partners, and it has pleased no one. He was criticized both by the families of the victims and the hostages, but he was also criticized by his own diplomats posted in the Arab world, who anonymously signed op-eds to criticize his policy because his support for Israel was making it harder for them to bridge with these Arab countries.
And apparently, my colleague was telling me that earlier today we had the former French president, François Hollande, who was on the radio and basically said what happened to the 42 French nationals is horrific and barbaric, and sort of seemed to say that the 27,000 Palestinians who have been killed are sort of collateral damage, if you will.
I think it's two completely different problems. Like in the case of the victims of October 7, they are victims of a terrorist attack. They have been targeted and killed intentionally. In the case of like the victims of the Israeli airstrikes and offensive in Gaza, like some are collateral damage, but
we've seen so many children die. We've seen so many women die. The Hamas too.
The one big issue is that the rules of engagement of Israel seem to have been lowered down to allow like indiscriminate fire. And this has caused a lot of killings. But the French government has been criticizing also this. And like in the end, as I said, it pleases no one.
Yeah. I want to ask you about, bridging divisions here in France, because this is such a divisive issue. France has this huge Jewish community. We also have a lot of Arab and Muslim minority in this country. And this whole issue is very complex. It's been very divisive. Does a ceremony like this do enough to bridge divisions, or is it just going to keep the divisions further apart?
It's not going to bridge any division with the large Muslim and non-Muslim communities that support the victims of the Israeli airstrikes in Gaza. And clearly, this kind of ceremony is first and foremost targeted at the French Jewish community to show to them that they are not abandoned by the head of state. To bridge across the divide. You clearly would need major figures in both sides to come together, and we've not seen that at all since October 7. People supporting the Palestinians and people supporting the victims of October 7 coming together. I've not seen that.
Do you think Emmanuel Macron was successful in sort of talking about the showing support to France's Jewish population while not alienating the others? Or as you said, you cannot please everyone and he's going to anger someone at some point?
He was not successful at avoiding to alienate everyone, and clearly, he didn't come to the march against anti-Semitism, and the people who organized the march didn't understand that, and on the other side, he has not done any significant step to protect the people in Gaza.
I just want to, just a last point. I saw earlier today, we had the far right's Marine Le Pen, who was attending this commemoration. The far right in France and around Europe, if you will, seems to have put their support firmly behind Israel. What do you make of that?
Clearly, there's been a work from the Netanyahu government to bridge with the far right in Europe. It's it started long time before the October 7 attack. I think from the point of view of the Jewish communities, they are under attack. Clearly, the wave of anti-Semitism is so big, so they welcome any ally in this fight in their defense. And
even though whatever happened in the past?
Because I think, in their eyes, the current far right in Europe is way more diverse than just the anti-Semite far right from the 1940s. They are fascists who are more pro Western, pro Meloni, who is pro NATO in the far right. So they welcome this. Clearly, also for them, the current issue is more important than the past, and the attacks from October 7 have become more important for Jewish communities now than the history of the far right in Europe.
Jérémy André, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us on the program today.